This is going to be a short video about how BSG should be balancing rather than how they're currently balancing. No hate to them, I'm sure they have a lot on their hands according to the roadmap, but I just wish they could at least consult their player base before making some of these changes. Anyway, we all know BSG is notorious for making bad balancing decisions and band-aid fixes in their patches. Recently, we've seen a lot of good changes from BSG per player feedback, like the 15% recoil reduction on all weapons, further recoil reduction on the VSS and VAL to make them usable, making some weaker 30 to 35 pen rounds more accessible, and increasing LEDX and other high value loot spawns so casual players can finish their quests easier. I'm sure there are more, but those are the most relevant off the top of my head. Now all of these changes are what the community asked for, and they all do one thing: help progression for newer and more casual players. Despite knowing all this information, BSG continues to balance weapons through ruble value. Let's look at our first example, the VSS. The recoil is very usable now. At 900 RPM it can shoot SP6, which has the same stats as 762 BP, and this round can be had through level 3 Prapper with no quest lock. This combo is a little strong, maybe a bit overpowered, but now we have a mutant and RD competitor that isn't just the M4. The gun and round beats out other options at close range. Fortunately, it lacks the ammo capacity, range, and durability the other rifles have. You can't spray a whole squad with one mag. You can't snipe because the ammo drops like a rock and it travels too slow. If you spray more than 40 rounds, your gun will probably malfunction. All of this makes it fair and balanced. However, we have a problem now. SP6 is too easily accessible compared to his competitors, as BP has been taken off Flea and traders, while 855A1 can only be had at Peacekeeper 4, 90 rounds per reset for 1000 rubles each. So now it's time for BSG to balance. Through Zero Thought, they increased the price of SP6 from 1200 rubles to 3000, and now back down to around 2200 after community outrage. They completely ignored the existence of SPP, which is a weaker round locked behind Test Drive. In my experience, Test Drive is usually finished at around level 35 to 40. You can finish it earlier, but most players do not. Let me remind you that SP6 can be had through Prapper level 3 at level 26. So the answer here should be obvious. To balance the gun through ammo accessibility, SPP should be swapped with SP6. Make SPP the 1200 ruble round and lock that Prapper 3, and lock SP6 behind a quest. If you think Test Drive can be grinded too early and too quickly, then lock it behind Punisher Part 5 or 6. The questline 762 BP used to be locked behind. When it comes to balancing the weapon itself, 900 RPM is way too crazy for a near meta weapon, which can be had for only 70k rubles. As with all meta combos, there are weaker options with lower RPM, like the M4 was to the HK, or currently the G36 is to the M4. We can keep the VAL at 900 RPM, as the base gun is around 150k from traders and 200 on market, making the final build around 300k, which is about the cost of a fully built M4 or mutant. However, a VSS for 70k will need some changes. According to the wiki, VSS and VAL vary from 800 RPM to 900, so it's not unreasonable to nerf the VSS to 850 or even 800 RPM. You can then raise the vertical recoil to ratio, as higher RPM guns climb faster, making them harder to control. So with lower RPM, you have to raise the recoil a tiny bit to maintain the skill floor. But only vertical, as horizontal will affect the left and right RNG, which has nothing to do with skill. If BSG had consulted the long-time hardcore players that understand the game inside out, they could have helped balance the VAL and VSS. Then we wouldn't need something as backwards as SP6 at 2000 to 3000 rubles a round. Balancing through cost doesn't affect the top percentile of players that are always running the best gear. It only gatekeeps casual and newer players from trying out a weapon. The M4 had similar item value changes, as the best in slot build price has drastically increased. While similar to the VSS situation, the reason for this price increase wasn't because it was way overpowered. It's because the psi rails were overused, and BSG probably wanted us to be more creative with our builds. Hitting the build cost here is not the way to go. You have to hit the stats. Between the Mark 10 and LVOA, the Mark 10 has better recoil while the LVOA has better ergo. So why does the psi do both of these things better? Instead, swap the ergo of the LVOA with the psi, so now LVOA is the best in slot ergo, and then nerf the psi to 2.5% recoil reduction. And now we'll see a larger variety of builds because these 3 handguards are balanced to the same tier. If BSG thought the jailbreak combo is the reason why the psi needs to be so expensive, then they're completely out of touch. People abused the jailbreak combo earlier this wipe because of the suppressor bug. Pretty much nobody uses the loud M4 combo because it's like ringing a dinner bell. I want people to fight me, so I run it myself. But besides me, I've rarely encountered this build in game. Now when it comes to barrel length, everyone runs 370 or 406mm. There's no variety because of these. The short build counterparts have a lower ergo increase than their bigger cousins, which makes zero sense, because shorter is lighter. I run them anyway because I think short M4s are sick, but when it comes to stats, there's no upsides to running them. You get less ergo from parts and your weapon has a lower muzzle velocity. If we can get higher ergo for less recoil loss in short builds, then we may see more use in them. Sure, this will give us more ergo fodder for recoil reduction centered grips, but that's fine because no matter how you build a shorty M4, you won't be able to reach as low as a medium sized one. Why not give it a bit more ergo so people will actually run it? Balancing an item purely through cost is not a good solution. The problem is always in the stats of an individual part. Every new player wants to build cool guns and they already have a hard time farming rubles. So let's not gatekeep them. If you're trying to stop meta players from running the Cyrail every game, increasing the cost isn't the solution because the cost isn't an issue with these players, they don't care about rubles. Coming up with answers to problems is easy, but that doesn't mean the answers are always right. That's because deriving the right questions for the problem is the difficult part. And for Tarkov, coming up with the right questions can only be done by people who have experienced the game for thousands of hours. Just because creating the experience is your full-time job, does not mean you understand what the experience is like firsthand. This is where the community members come in. Sure, as individuals they may be out of touch sometimes, but as a community they can help devs understand the core issues of the game. I hope this video was enjoyable. I usually do guides, but game balance felt like an interesting topic to cover. Like the video if you liked it, drop a sub with bell, socials are here. I stream sometimes on Twitch, join the Discord and check out the Gun Builds channel. Thanks for watching.
What's the other edge you have to do now?
What the fuck? He's right. What the fuck? Oh, I'm being shot at. Yeah. You're dead?
No, he's shooting at me. He's shooting at
Are
me.
you dead?
I'm fine.
How are you dead? I'm hit once. It's a big gun. Pat, did you get a visual? Wait, did you say you're dead?
One's dead.
You see where my laser is?
He ran away?
Okay, I'm pushing with you. You're on my left, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm pushing to the right. Oh, he shot again.
Got one? There's more though.
Oh, he got me, he got me. He got me. He's far right side. Oh, that magnifier is really bad.
Got another one?
I'm not sure. Pat, was that you on top of the rock?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.